Oh, hello. Loving you people. It is Modesta Mahiga Muguni from Modesta.Africa. Listen, listen, listen. We have been on a whew, fired up series this week talking about how to build, how to position, how to leverage, and today, how to pass on your personal brand. It has been, I think, the most engaging. Okay, maybe the career session I had last week, all last week was engaging, but this has been quite a riveting program. Why? Because everything that you're going to accomplish will depend on other people allowing you to influence them. With that in mind, it is so key for us to know the image or impression we have on people so that we can position to be in a place where people find us to be relatable and to be credible as solution bringers. And that's what we are as purpose driven leaders, right? We bring solutions to our spheres of influence, whether that is through our jobs in our careers, through our businesses, through our ministries, in whatever context you're in, you are in the business of influencing people to believe that you are the go to authority. You are the person that will bring the solution that they need. And so we started off with identifying what personal branding is and how do we define personal branding. Hey, Lebby. Hi, Blessed. Hi, Jeffrey. Hi, Richard. We said that personal branding is your intentional, ongoing process to create a specific image or impression of yourself in the minds of your target audience. Personal branding is you being intentional about you going through an intentional ongoing process to create a specific image or impression of yourself in the minds of others. Somebody's like, where are you, Modesta, by the way? But I forgive you. I am here online. Thank you for asking. In a way, you're asking me, who are you, and how do we access you? Let me let you know. My name is Modesta Mahiga Buguni, and I am your executive leadership coach, career advisor, and business consultant. I have dedicated my life, and I'm going into the 17th year of equipping purpose driven leaders to drive market results with excellence. I work with career and business leaders to distinguish themselves in their market, in their spheres of influence, in such a way as to be able to increase their income, their influence, and their impact. And if you want to reach out to me, you can get me on modesta.africa. As simple as that. That's my website. My products, especially the coaching programs that you've heard me talk about, are on purposeandexcellence.africa. But just in case purposeandexcellence.africa is too long, you can just go to modesta.africa. And when you go to work with me, you'll see all the services. When you click to them, they'll take you to purposeandexcellence.africa. Isn't that a nice little feature? So this entire week, we've been talking about our personal brand. And I came from week 7 of the master plan class talking about personal branding. So I'm all personal branded out this week. I actually have 20 videos on becoming a powerful personal brand on our YouTube channel. So you want to learn how to position better in your sphere of influence. You want to do better in your career, and you just think, you know what, I'm floating around a certain level. Yes, I'm a leader, but I could do better, and want to know what that difference would be, what distinguishes the good leaders from the great. You're in business, and whether there are a lot of competitors or there are not, there is a way that you can distinguish yourself first and your business, that your target audience, remember, target, we're not just talking to anybody out here. We are talking to a specific target audience. So you need to be able to define your target audience. And there's a video on that playlist on Purpose and Excellence YouTube channel. If you want to create an impression, an image, a reality, of course, that you are the go-to authority in your area, this is what this entire week has been about. You can so distinguish yourself to your target audience. And we started out with identify personal brand, being able to build it, positioning it, because it's one thing, hey, it's one thing that people can see you and they know you're good at what you do. They think you're relevant. What you talk about, the things that you do are very much related to what interests them. And they see the value add. Every time you show up at meetings, you're bringing solutions. Every time, an issue comes up, you're not going out to your supervisor, you're not going out to management and saying, this came up, what are we going to do? You're going to management and saying, this came up, and considering what our organization is about, considering what the department did before, and that this is related to some of the solutions that we brought in that context, I would recommend that we do XYZ. I once read somewhere that a manager has this placard in front of their desk that says, what is your problem and what is your solution? You distinguish your personal brand by not just being very good at talking about what the problem is, because everybody can talk about what the problem is. You've probably heard people say, the problem with women, the problem with Africans, the problem with us Tanzanians, and I'm shindwe. That's nice, but what solutions do you propose? Because that's how you distinguish your personal brand. So we are people, purpose-driven people, people of impact, people that want to be solutions to their organization, to their industry, to their economy, to the world. And I am here this week showing you how you can distinguish yourself from everybody else in that respect. So to recap, we started out by identifying our personal brand. What exactly is it? Like I said, it's your intentional, ongoing process to create a specific image of yourself in the minds of your target audience, very targeted audience. You cannot be all things to all people. You need to be very discriminate about who you are speaking to, and you need to be very specific about what services you have to offer. You're not talking to everybody. Not everybody are your people. I will not lose sleep 1 second. I mean, I won't lose sleep no matter who says what, but I will not lose sleep if people that I'm not even addressing, people I'm not even called to, like or do not like my product services, like or do not like me. God bless you. You're not my people. You're not my tribe. I am not out here speaking to you. But I should be concerned. And I remember in the video I said, there is a problem. Okay, fine. Let me not shock you, but I should be concerned. If you, my target audience, you guys are my tribe. If you are not receptive to my personal brand, and I have a very specific image and impression I want to create in your minds about me so that I can be effective at influencing you. If you do not see me as an executive leadership coach, you don't think you can relate with me or trust me on that end. If you do not see me as a career advisor nor a business consultant, then I'm in trouble because I mean to speak to you. And if you're not convinced about me, then I need to do something. Because no matter how good you are at what you do, no matter how much experience you've gathered, no matter how much you've achieved, you're speaking to adults, independent thinking beings that can choose to go with you or not with you. They have a choice. You're not going to manhandle anybody. You're not going to strong arm. You're not going to force your way in people's minds, in people's hearts. So the only way that an independent thinking adult will allow you to influence them is if they are convinced of their own volition that you are the person that they want to roll with. And the way to convince them is now having the values, vision, and mission that aligns with them. Personal branding begins with you. You need to know who you are. You need to know why you're here. You need to know where you are going. You should already have a picture of success. When I have served the people I'm called to serve well, this is how life will be different for them because I existed, because I showed up on the scene. And this specifically is how I will approach bringing that solution to them. This is what I have come to learn, and you will find this in my Start Now with Purpose and a Master Plan book. You can get that on Amazon, both as an ebook and as a print book. This is what I've come to learn. That it is it's important, first of all, for me to know my purpose. That's why I exist. It's so important for you to know why you're here. You cannot be every person to every, and be everywhere. You cannot touch every single thing. There's a specific way you've been wired, and you will realize that I tend to be moved towards certain things. I mean, when I'm engaged in these things, I never even notice the time go by. When I'm in these things, I am so excited. Like, guys, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm excited. I can show up daily with these things. It moves me. I'm a natural at this stuff. Like, people tend to come to me for these solutions. When I think back, ever since I was in school, people would come to me for these things. And this is what I've continued with. If you haven't continued with the thing that you feel the most in your heart, you need to speak to me. Because if you're doing things that are not aligned with your purpose and you're frustrated every single day just trying to get the money, I want you to know that you can actually get the money serving your purpose. But that's another conversation for another day. So you need to be clear about your purpose. If you're not, start here. Start with creating your non negotiable values. You need to know who you are, what you stand for, how you conduct yourself, how far you will go, and it comes to a place where you say, I will not go any further. How you expect people to conduct themselves by you and not push it any further. And you need to stand on that. And then you're going to check everything. Remember, guys, when I was talking about doing a 24-hour value audit, if you haven't seen this video, you need to go back to the previous videos on the series. I said, do a 24-hour value audit. What is that, Modesta? That is you going from 000 midnight, right? 000, which is 12 a.m., all the way to 11:59 p.m. and checking to see what you're spending each hour on, writing down next to each hour what you do, because there are times we find that we are engaged daily in pursuits, in relationships, in things that are nowhere near what we say our purpose and our vision in life is. And so you wonder how I know my purpose, I know my values, I know my vision and mission, and I have set goals. But why am I not reaching them? Well, because of what you do daily. And your success rests on what you do daily. Every single thing that you want is on the other side of daily, consistent, persistent action. It's what you do daily that translates to the outputs and the outcomes, the impact of your life. And so when you do that audit, you're going to now say, look, why am I in this group? Why am I working in this organization? Why do I keep putting money towards this? Like, what am I doing? These things are nowhere near aligned to who I am and where I'm going. I'm shooting myself in the foot. I need to reevaluate my life. I need to reevaluate my career. Where am I going with this? It starts with you being very clear about who you are and where you're going and how you want to serve in a way that is authentic, in a way that you're going to do something like only you can do, and in a way that is consistent. So, for instance, what I was able to do as a single person, running up and down, terrorizing people in the media, I'm in my business, I'm all over the world. I'm not able to do that at the moment with little kids. And so my mission may remain the same, my vision remains the same, my purpose remains the same, my values, I do not play with my values, y'all. I don't have bandwidth for anything outside of my values. Zero bandwidth for nonsense. Zero bandwidth for living a life that is incongruent with my values. But I may evolve my approach to things depending on my situation. And so you will then be very clear about your values. If you know your purpose, is beautiful. If you don't, please don't fret. Your values key, your vision, because if you already know who you know what it is you want to bring, and you have identified who needs that most, that's your target audience, then you can say, so what is my mission? What is my approach to getting them there? And what is my approach for now? And it may change with as you go through different seasons, different chapters of life, because this is what's also important to know. We live life in seasons, we live life in chapters. I wouldn't want you to hold back from service, hold back from engaging because you're thinking, my life right now does not allow for that. Well, do what your life allows for you to do. Just because you can't do everything you envision to do, everything you could do in your life, doesn't mean that you don't do anything at all. Do that which you can. Work with your current situation. You have a big dream, yes, start small. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Do that and do it well and continue going. And as things evolve, and they will get better because you're doing daily whatever you can to actually get it to snowball to be the greater that you want to do. And after you're very clear about who you are and where you're going, and the picture of success after you have served the people or the industry or businesses that you want to serve, then you come back and you look at your mission. It's now time to look at your target audience and say, what really is their challenge? In what way can I so distinguish myself as to add value in their lives? So you're going to do a lot of research. You will ask them what they need. You will look at what current services are being offered in the marketplace and how you can distinguish yours and how you are uniquely positioned to do that. Don't try to be anybody else. Don't try to compete with anyone else. Just look at how you can uniquely position to do that. Maybe you can see an angle that others haven't seen that you can serve them in. Maybe you have a way of a certain approach that is novel, that's innovative, that would add value. Think about those things so that you can position them. You're very clear about your target audience. You're not speaking to everybody. You're speaking to a very specific target audience. And you're not offering anything and everything. You're offering that which you are uniquely positioned to offer them in the way that only you can do the way you do. And then you want to make sure that you position yourself as a person that is present, that you can be seen. Now, I'm not talking about everybody get out here on social media and jump up and down like Modesta, on videos. No, no, no. But you must be sensitive about how your target audience gets their information, how your target audience prefers to communicate, how your target audience prefers to shop, how your target audience, needs solutions, and it could be internally in an organization, how information is shared, how people are updated, how things are moved, so that you can position your presence, your visibility in a way that they need. So why am I? This is just bad. But I want. But let me find another way of saying this, guys. Because sometimes you guys know I joke around a lot. Thank you for bearing with me and my jokes. But why would I not be on Pinterest, for example, with what I'm doing? Well, because I'm positioning for career and business success. So career and business to me says LinkedIn, Twitter, but then my approach and my audience is not mostly on LinkedIn and Twitter, even if I wish they were, because then, that would be a very comfortable business platform for me. My people, you guys, are on Facebook and you are on Instagram and you will occasionally watch a YouTube video. So I am on Facebook and Instagram, and I am also on YouTube for when you want to later retrieve. So you must then, as you're thinking of how to be present, you don't have to necessarily be on social media, which is important, all the time. You consider your target media. You communicate on social media. You understand, what is going on in the world right now, and I'm not talking about COVID. You understand, how things have evolved, how practices have changed. What are the benchmarks right now? Maybe things have moved, and remain relevant so that you're not just a person in this area, which could be the same as you were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but you're really moving with the times so that your target audience not only sees you to be present and visible, but they find you to be relevant. You're speaking to the things that concern them. And so you will find now and then, my accent will change a little bit, speaking to my brothers and sisters on the mainland. You will find now and then, I might throw in a Swahili word here and there because I still am mostly engaging with Swahili speakers. And so they kind of understand now and then when I put in a word or two and, I will translate it. And there are issues even in career and business that I will address that are very relevant and common in our communities. And so, as much as anybody would be able to follow and still find value in career and business, there's some things that are just relevant to our context, or more relevant to our context, or a person from I'm trying not to say African. I'm trying not to say black. Like, I'm trying to be politically correct here, guys. But if a person from a culture similar to ours, with some of the issues that I'm addressing and the solutions that I'm proposing, may wonder, well, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal in our context. So you have to not only understand yourself well and understand, how you position your brand, you need to also understand who you're speaking to. Otherwise, you could be completely irrelevant to them. And then also add value. And what's the difference between being relevant and adding value? So relevant is that you understand who you're speaking to, you understand their context, you understand what is currently happening, you understand trends, you understand developments in, maybe it could be an industry, it could be specific to that target audience, some things they're facing. Listen, some of the things as you position your personal brand to your target audience may not even be related directly to what you're offering them. But because it concerns your target audience, it is important for you to know, because check this out. Whereas demographics talks about, the outward, maybe sometimes physical attributes of your target audience, the psychographics, that is how your target audience thinks. So if I am talking to you about, oh, so I have this class called the Master Plan class, which I do, which helps you to position yourself in your career. You go from understanding your purpose, developing a 12-month plan, and you come out with a distinguished market position. And I'm talking to you about what it is you do, how long it is, and what you need to pay. And your concern is, when will I find time for this? I've got my kids, but I've got this budget. My pay is this much, and I have to allocate towards this and that, the other. I need to be aware of all the things that influence you daily. My competitor, and first of all, I don't even see people as competitors, but my competitor is another coach or another consultant or another advisor. My competitor in business is everything else you're going to spend your money on. Is what you find, what you place as a priority in your life. Because if DSTV is somebody, if cable is more important to you than personal development, I have to understand that context and speak to you in a way that, I am getting your attention outside of the cable. I'm showing my value beyond cable TV, DSTV. Somebody. Right? My God, this woman, she's awesome. Of course, I'm all over yourself. I have to be. I have to understand your context as well, not just as relates to what I want to do with you, but all the things that concern you, all the things that you aspire for, so that I can speak as I'm positioning my personal brand. I can speak to your life in a way you're like, how do you know? How did you know my husband, would think that? How did you know that I'm actually doing that with my wider family? Whether it's about giving. Somebody yesterday said, you just spoke about me when you wrote about, are you giving, because you feel guilty, or are you giving because you plan to? So it's important when you want to position your personal brand to not only be visible, that's nice, be present, but also relevant, and that you add value in a way that shows that you understand me and you're giving solutions. The adding value piece is bringing solutions. Relevance is that you're understanding the context and who I am and all the things that surround my life and influence my decision making, the psychographics. But value adding is that I actually can see you bringing solutions. Because remember, personal branding is about other people talking to other people about you and the value add you bring. Personal branding is not just you throwing yourself at people. That's just you throwing yourself at people. Personal branding is when now people who you have been engaging with open their mouths and speak of you. Will they speak of you in a way that's congruent, in a way that aligns with how you want them to perceive you? That's what personal branding is. It's the image and impression others have of you. But you can get on, you can get on the front end of that and teach people how to perceive you, how they think about you, how they speak about you, how they engage with you. And as Zig Ziglar said, if people like you, they will listen to you. But if they trust you, they will do business with you. And we want to get in a position as purpose leaders, as influencers in career and business. We want to get in a position where we are trusted to have the character and the competencies to be able to deliver the solution that we're proposing. And there's no better way of showing that to people than to actually do bring solution. Now, you can bring solutions when you are serving. So you're in a contract, you're engaged, and you're serving someone. But you can also bring solutions by just so engaging yourself daily in the language that you use, in the things. And this is so good right now in this era of social media. You post things that are relevant to you showing the value add you bring. We can post and repost nice pics. I can do a post. I can put my husband. I can put my kids. But when I start posting the solutions to some of the challenges you have, even before we even had a conversation and you told me that was a problem for you at all, and every single day I show up with something, not just I show that I'm relevant and I'm nice and I understand and I'm a coach and I am a business consultant and I can advise you in your career, but I actually give tips. I actually bring information. I will do things like this, like these live sessions that speak to the issues that you are moved by. When I come to make an ask, when people ask you, hey, do you know anybody in this area? You say there is this one lady, her name is so and so. You can get her on modesta.africa. I mean, you know my website off by heart because I've been communicating it. So it's important to be present, it's important to be relevant, and it is key to add value. But then I took it up a notch, as you always would take it up a notch. I took it up a notch and I said, it's not enough to be present, to be relevant, and to add value. I mentioned to you that it's also important to leverage. You can be present, you can be relevant, you can add value all you want, and I do it daily. But people are not rushing to do business with me. Why? Because I haven't asked them. You don't have because you don't ask. And sometimes you ask amiss. So people don't know what to do with you. They will admire you. They'll send you likes and loves like you guys are doing now, which I appreciate. I love you and I like you back. But unless you put a call to action, unless you actually specifically say now what you want from others, they will just generally think you're a great person. They will just generally want to involve you in things. And they will just do whatever moves their heart to do or not do. Just, however, if they move to, they will. If they're not moved to, they won't. So for you to really leverage your personal brand, you need to package it and you need to be very specific in what you're communicating about what you have to offer and then close that deal. That's what I was saying throughout that video on leveraging. Close that deal by making an ask. Because if personal branding is about what other people think about you and what they say about you to other people, right? Jeff Bezos says personal branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So people are going to be making decisions about your compensation. They're going to be making decisions about your promotion. They're going to be making decisions about whether to include you in certain things. They'll be making a lot of decisions about you. And if they're doing that, you then want to make sure that you have leveraged your relationship and your presence and the time you work with them so that when it comes to time of making the ask, people are like, wait, who are you again? Or, okay, so can you list down what you've done? Because I'm not aware. Guys, if you go and make an ask to someone and at that point they say, can you please let me know who you are and what you do? Then you have not been positioning your personal brand. That's a bad thing. If they will even do a thing at that point, I don't know, maybe they just felt bad for you, or I don't know. So you want to make sure you so live. So it's not put on, it's not artificial, it's not manipulative, like you only ask or you only show value when you want something. You want to make sure that you've so lived a life of value, but you've also then been taking note of who you are and you've been leveraging relationships. So asking supervisors, asking maybe a mentor for referees, sorry, for references, or asking them to be referees on your documents, asking colleagues and directors and other people you've worked with for recommendations. So, for instance, I mentioned yesterday, not yesterday, the day before, that LinkedIn allows for people to give recommendations of their experience working with you. It actually asks the person to mention, did they supervise you? Did you just work in the same organization? It asks them to say specifically, because then people will look at you and what you say about yourself. But how many know you don't just go by what people say about themselves? Because people will say whatever they'll say about themselves to get an opportunity, right? People will say whatever people will say because they want the opportunity. But they will look at, especially a person who is not family and friends, and what they say about that person. And especially if that person who is saying it is a person of authority in that field, a person of influence, a person of seniority in that field, they will then say, oh, this person must be good. If so and so is willing to write a note, is willing to make a recommendation, is willing to say that this person is, really credible in their field, then they must be, because so and so can be trusted. So one of the things that I also said is, be mindful, be discriminate about who you're going to ask to give your, an estimation of who you are and what you can do. You want to make sure that they themselves have character, they themselves have credibility in the area that you seek to influence, to the people you seek to influence. So if I want to position in business, I'm not going to ask my pastor, who may not be business related, to give me a recommendation. What's he going to say? I mean, you might say something about my character and I'm nice or whatever, but it won't be relevant if I'm looking to influence in business. So in business, I would look for a business mentor, and I would look at my clients who would give testimonials. That would be relevant. Equally so, you also don't just attach your brand to anybody. I talked about protecting your brand. You're not going to have your name associated with just anybody, because they will look at them and come back and say, if you recommended this person and they're not doing well, then there must be something up with you. That person is unscrupulous. That person is unethical. If you're going to recommend them, then there's a question mark on you and your character. And so you also not only will look to people who can add value, and of course, I have different mentors, I have different referees, I have different people for different contexts. So if I need my pastor, if I need a character reference, or if I need, a mentor that may not be related to a specific area, they can still be a referee. They can still be, give recommendation on based on my character. So please, you don't just discriminate right now, but I'm saying for every situation, consider your affiliations. So just as you will be mindful of who you ask to get on board your thing to leverage your personal brand in your relationship with them, you also have to be mindful about who you go and support to create a specific image or impression of yourself to your target audience. It's up to you being very clear about who you are and you're speaking to, and it's up to you so positioning that who you're speaking to can trust and want to engage with you. Where you feel stuck, and we just had this conversation during the master plan class just right now before I got on this live feed. Where you feel stuck, you need to ask yourself, number one, have I made it clear who I am and what value I bring? Because if I haven't made that clear, I need to do